Welcome to the Pocatello Business Podcast, the only Pocatello podcast focused on providing profits for Pocatello people. If you love our town and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Pocatello Business Podcast with your friend, host, all-around great guy, and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
Everyone, welcome to a special edition of the Pocatello Business Podcast. I'm in my truck. I got booted out of my studio because they're doing some construction, and I didn't think you wanted to hear jackhammers and all sorts of other heavy-duty machinery going off inside during all this. So I figured, you know what, best next choice is go to the truck and make it happen. But I am joined here with our first non-Pocatello person. His name's John Vuong, and he is the founder of Local SEO Search. He's out of Toronto, Canada. So, you know, we're not going to hold it over him that he's from Canada. You know, but we'll still accept him into the podcast here. So, so John, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Spencer. Thanks for the intro. I mean, we're not as bad as you think. We're really good people here in Canada. So we're here to spread the love.
That's good. I like it. So John, typically, you know, I ask kind of about your hobbies and your background. So you tell us just a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got into the business you're in.
Yeah, definitely. So 7 years ago, I started this agency. We focus on search engine optimization, helping small, medium-sized business owners dominate their local niche. The reason I got into it was 10 years prior, I've always been doing sales and marketing, and I did work at Yellow Pages for 5+ years. And I worked with thousands of local business owners and helped them understand advertising. And they were just frustrated with traditional media. They were frustrated not getting good ROI, and they wanted to pivot. They wanted to get more dominant in terms of where people were currently searching. And that's how I pivoted to Google. In terms of hobbies and whatnot, I mean, I have a son. I spend a lot of time just having fun with him, playing with him, and just growing with him and seeing every aspect of his life, just being present, right? And I think that's the most important thing, just being alive and present with the most important people in your life.
Perfect. I love it. Totally agree. And we've talked about that in one of our past podcast episodes of just having that support structure and just really enjoying the people you enjoy to be around. You know, we don't want to work just to work and to save up money and to die. You know, we got to enjoy your life a little bit too. So hopefully more than a little bit.
Exactly.
So John, walk us through this a little bit. You've seen the Yellow Page days, and now you're into the SEO side of things. Tell us how that's evolved, you know, from people advertising and kind of how they used to get their, you know, ROI on the Yellow Pages to comparing to maybe the Yellow Pages today. And then let's move on to the SEO after that answer. So.
Yeah, definitely. So as you know, Yellow Pages is a printed directory of every single phone number that's a business, right?
Yep.
And it was survived for over 100+ years. It was the backbone of every local community. There were places to advertise, definitely. There were flyers, newspapers, radio, television, trade shows, billboards. These are traditional media. And Yellow Pages was more of you're not pushing ads at people. People, when they were ready to buy, they picked up that phone book, went to a category or, you know, a section of it, which is the yellow section, and really look for your service offering with all the different trades or all the competitors within your niche, right? Mm-hmm. And all you have to do is compel them enough with content, call to action, your service offering for them to reach out to you. So you're going after a ready to buy, very far down the funnel type of client.
Sure.
And that's how it worked for over 100 years. And then came Google, then came the internet, and then came other options where now people don't even know where to advertise. There's social media, there's video content, there's audio content, there's written content, images. There's so much out there. But then there's also Google. And what I found is Google has kind of replaced what Yellow Pages did a very good job at, which was attract people who are ready to buy, who are seeking out service or product offerings via keywords now. And what you're looking for is websites or business owners that are actively in play or positioned as an expert in your community or local surrounding area, right? And for you on Google, if you're a business owner, you can actually appear naturally without paying to be like paying per click, like on ads,
Sure.
right? At the top or on the map. There's ways that you can naturally appear, which is building yourself as that leader. And that's what I help a lot of business owners become, because they're not familiar with how Google works and how this whole digital presence and online presence really works, right? But we really craft a message, craft a campaign where we try to cultivate ready to buy, very close to your ideal persona or avatar kind of client, to people who are seeking you out via Google. And you're just trying to just capture them to fill in that form, call you, do a sale transaction, and convert. So
Perfect.
that's what Google can provide you.
I like it. So I just back up just a little bit so we can kind of cap off the Yellow Pages, because this interests me just a little bit more, and I'm sure the rest of our audience. When did the Yellow Pages stop being the place to go?
Okay. So I was there 7 years prior. So 7 years, that's when I started the agency called Local SEO Search. And prior to that, I worked there for 5 years. And during those 5 years, every single call I had was very challenging, because people were spending more than ever, but getting lower and lower returns on the investment. And they felt it. They knew there was a shift. Their users' behavior was changing. They no longer go to Yellow Pages as their go-to business directory. Google started to take off. And that's where I would even say during my period at Yellow Pages, there was definitely a shift. So I would say 10 plus years ago, users were already slowly moving away from Yellow Pages. And that's where I knew I had to either pivot and figure something out and become a solution offering for all these potential customers, or join Google and work for them, right? Like
Sure.
that's different options I had.
Well, let me ask you this. Is there any demographic that, if someone's maybe, for example, is servicing your retirees and the older generation, the more seasoned generation, the generation with the wealth of knowledge, and they're used to doing the Yellow Pages, are you still seeing that type of demographic going to the Yellow Pages, or are they still more towards going to Google?
I have clients that are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, and there's shift, right? Because all they want is to be in front of their ideal customers. And if their customers, like your parents and my parents, they are in front of social media today. Like my mom's 70 and she uses Facebook and she goes on YouTube, right?
Sure.
Because information is so accessible, affordable, and easy to get to. Right. And if you understand users' behavior, then you want to be in front of them when they're ready to buy. And if your parents don't go on the internet and they're not comfortable, their children are, right? Like my generation and below. And if they are spending more time than ever there, you're going to educate your parents to understand and have shortcuts and ways to get to things quickly. So that's where I feel like people forget. Like I have clients that are denturists, right? And their type of clients are, in their 60s, 70s using teeth. But you have to understand who's shopping today. Their children for their parents, right? They're the ones doing research. And, they're shopping around, they're checking out reviews, all these things that you and me and everyone else now take for granted.
I like it. So Yellow Pages, I'm glad we had that little section on the Yellow Pages just to help people understand, hey, it really is a thing of the past. Maybe a 1 out of 100 are going to the Yellow Pages if it's around, if someone hasn't torn it in half with the part of those tournaments. But let's go back on further into the SEO thing a little bit. But first, I got to take a quick sponsorship timeout. I've got another sponsorship now that just came into the show. The company is Pack and Go. And if you enjoy going up, with your priceless goods, a slippery incline death ramp into moving trucks, this isn't a company for you. But if you like convenience, where they come and drop off a container pod and you can load it at your convenience at a ground level, and they come and put it back on a trailer and haul it off for you, this is the company for you. Pack and Go. I can't say enough good things about them, but give them a holler. You can find them on Google. We'll talk more about that in SEO. Sure, they've optimized. And if you call them and mention the Pocatello Business Podcast, if you sign up for 3 months of storage or using their containers, they'll give you the one of the months free. So back to you, John, to the podcast. To the SEO part of things. You've mentioned Google a lot. Are there other search engines that people need to be aware of that other certain demographics are using other than Google?
So if you are a business owner and you understand where your customers are residing, shopping. So it depends if you're service-based or product-based. It depends on your demographics that you're targeting, because there's social media like Facebook,
Sure.
Instagram, Twitter, YouTube for videos. But then there's also understanding what platforms they're using, right? To consume content. Because podcasting could be great, because if your ideal customers are listening, traveling in the car and listening, versus they like reading on the website. But you have to understand the impact a website has today, because you don't need a bricks and mortar. You can have all the information on a website that can have visual, has content written, as well as you can put videos there. You can put audio there. You can have so many different formats out there. So Google is, I still think, 90+% of the market share in terms of where people are going when they're doing any sort of research or product service-based inquiry. Then, of course, there's Bing and Yahoo and social media and other forms of advertising.
Sure.
So where do you want to play? Do you want to play where majority of the people are shopping or looking for you? Or do you want to go after the small percentage that costs you a little bit, even the same amount, right? But a smaller market share.
Sure, I agree. Okay. So on the SEO side of things, maybe what do you have a few tips for people that are maybe just starting out or want to dabble in it first, just to get a little bit more exposure for free? Do you have any few tips that you could share with the audience?
Yeah, definitely. So SEO is trying to position your website on the first page of Google without paying and appearing naturally. But what you have to do is become that expert, that leader in your niche, in your local area, right? So what we focus on is service-based, small, medium-sized business, family-run within a local community. Those are our ideal customers. What you need to do is then, if you don't have any digital presence right now, first off, you need a website. Own it and start putting in information there, like content. And content could be in different formats. It could be written, images, video, and audio. And you have to understand to write to your users and not to Google. So write the content like your customers are actually reading the information and they want something out of it, which is right for the users. So produce good content, research, in-depth information. So that's the first thing. The second thing is create a good website, right? Like, it's first impressions. It's just like when someone goes to your retail shop, if you have a bricks and mortar, or they pick up the phone, you have to be willing to answer them, nicely and properly, and serve them well, right? So have it visually. People expect today a fast loading website, a clean looking website with images that compel and speak to them, right? So these things are now required a necessity. So images, fast loading, secure site to optimize for your users, for user experience, right? So focus on quality. And then, of course, the third thing is, I would say, Google My Business. A lot of people don't verify it and capitalize on what's free out there. So Google My Business is the social media platform for Google. And it's very similar to if you have a Facebook account or Twitter account or Instagram. These are social media assets that you can own. Well, Google has their own, Google My Business. Go in, verify it, and then you optimize it with company information, your reviews. You can actually get more reviews there because that's the first place people go to, right? They Google your brand. You need more reviews. Update some new images there, videos there, right? You can post weekly there. So that there's another thing that a lot of people don't even do, right? So verify it, optimize it, utilize it, and then again, I think the fourth thing I would just mention this is get more reviews, get good reputation out there, because before Google existed or internet existed, all these traditional businesses that were passed on generationally, they relied on word of mouth referrals. And without that, or without running a really good business, you're not going to be successful if people have bad things to say about you. So get your reputation out there that is quality, good, 4 or 5 star ratings, and don't just focus on one third-party review site like Google. Focus on multiple, like different directories. If you're a home improvement guy, there's home improvement directories out there. If you're in health and beauty, there's health and beauty. If there's product-based, there's product-based sites. So figure that out in terms of your niche and industry, and get out there so that other people can read about the good case studies and testimonials that you have built up for your business.
All right, man. That's some good information right there. I actually just verified Pocatello Business Podcast on Google My Business. So, and if you guys don't know what it is, literally you just go into it, sign in there with your Google email, and you go in, you hit verify. They send you a postcard within a few days, and you type that code on there, and you're off to the races. So that's great. Thank you for that. That's some good free content that, you know, like I've talked to you guys in the past, my audience. This is what providing value is. You know, you provide value to your potential customers, and they'll come back to you for other more value. So, John, I had something in my mind, but then I just, of course, misplaced it. The Google, all those different, the 3 things you just said, the review thing. What do you say for the people that maybe had a unjustified review that was cruel, or something happened? Do you recommend responding to all those reviews in kind, or you know, of course you want to, you know, you can't erase it, so you got to respond in a certain way that's respectful. What would your advice be on that type of thing?
Yeah, so reputation management is very critical, and it's a do or die thing for your business, and especially for small, medium-sized business owners. I mean, it means everything to them, right? You live and die and breathe through that. So when you start getting some negative reviews, and these could be fraudulent or spamish, right? And you know, because you don't recognize the name, or you know, you've been doing the best you can. My suggestion is, of course, respond to positive and negative reviews, but then you can also trigger Google to let them know that you believe it's a spam. As long as you have some proof, and you can recognize or somehow understand like who's writing it, you can see their profile, and if they're consistently writing negative reviews and it's kind of red flags, then you can at least notify Google about it. So there's ways around it, but my suggestion is just run a good business. Make it a habit to get more reviews and respond to both positive and negative, and be authentic, be real about it. Because if you only have 5-star ratings, it's probably not as real as you think it is, because if you actually run a real business, there's going to be some negative people or business transactions, and it's okay. It's authentic. It's real.
No
as
one's
long
perfect.
as you respond to to everyone, and be real about the interaction, right? Because people are reading those reviews, and they're reading the comments that you put into it. So just be as genuine as possible.
I totally agree, and I really like that, because I know it's perfect. If you respond with respect, and just the way that you run your company, you know, I have things sometimes when we do hiring ads on Facebook, for example, my ads are a little more, they have a lot of humor in them. And I've had people that are looking for jobs that said, "Oh, this is so offensive. Why?" You know, I'm like, well, you're in my mind, I'm like, well, they're not part of my core values. I really don't want them as an employee. But on comments, I'm saying, you know what? We're never meant to be disrespectful. We're just hiring off of our core values, and we're writing towards those core values. So we're just trying to have a sense of humor. So it's just, but I think if you respond with malice and want to get back at them, you're just going to start a war with words, and no one's going to win. You're both going to look bad.
And always take a step back and reflect on it. Like, they're not meant to do anything personally to you. Like, that's the other thing, because if you're rational, like, make sure you're in the right headspace
Sure.
to to comment back, because if you're just trying to get back at them right away, let's take a step back, like wait
Yep.
a day or two, right, before you respond.
Yeah, exactly.
And make sure you sit in their boat, make sure that you understand where they're coming from. So I always have other people review it and then calm you down a little bit before you respond.
It's just like reading a text message. I have employees and managers that'll read a text message from an employee or someone else, and they'll read it with a snarky voice, and they're like, I can't believe what they said. And I say, well, okay, read it with a normal voice now, and let's see where that takes us. So it really, I hate words in that manner, because you never know what type of manner and what type of I don't know, not body language, but just the feelings at that time that they're writing with. So, but enough with that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to mention, if there are negative reviews, my big thing is own it, call the person who wrote the review, and work something out, because more than likely, if you resolve it, they will change the review, right?
Yep.
The star rating. So just apologize or offer something for free or something, because that review could be way more detrimental to you than you think. And you can lose thousands of dollars or potential customers, right? Like, is it worth it?
You're exactly right. And you took the words out of my mouth, because that was what I was going to end with. Because when in doubt, just make anything right. Just make it right. If you screwed up or you didn't screw up, but they took it as in a way that you screwed up, just make it right. So, well, John, I appreciate it. I've got to take one more sponsorship timeout, and then we'll get to our last little bit, and then we'll be done. But we are sponsored again by the Dell's Outdoor Advertising. They've been in business for so many years, guys, 60 years. They've been helping people stay on top of mind awareness for billboards. Call them today. Call Rob at the office at 232-6886. That's area code 208-232-6886. Mention the Pocatello Business Podcast, and you will get your installation free, or your first month for free. So, John, again, we appreciate you being on the show. If people, I really appreciate those three value adding tips that you've given to us. But if people are like, hey, you know what, I've got some extra money to throw this, and I don't like to say it that way too, because you don't want to just throw extra money at it. You want to. This is marketing dollars, especially right now with coronavirus. I'm sure there's a lot of companies holding back because everyone's worried about keeping their business afloat, which, it's a very valid point. But at the same time, what a better time to market when there's more of your competition, everyone else holding back, when you could be getting your message out there more. Am I correct?
Yeah, people are spending way more time in front of a computer and doing their own research. So you want to be at least top of mind or visible. And if you are, I guess, progressive or optimistic, I feel that whoever's on board with the next 6 months or a year, you're going to really capitalize on a ton of opportunities.
Awesome. Yeah, you gotta make some lemonade out of this lemon that the coronavirus has caused. So, John, how do they get a hold of you if they want to reach out to you and say, hey, can you help us with our company in the SEO department?
Yeah, definitely. So the website, we have a website called www.localseosearch.ca. So we're based in Canada. We offer free website audit. So we can actually let you know on where you sit and where you stand compared to your competitors. And we can actually give you an update on how we can propel you to the next level in terms of digital presence.
I like that. And that's, guys, again, if that doesn't say enough about a company, I don't know what does. But right there, giving you something, another thing of value of, giving you a free audit of your website. That's huge by itself. So, John, sounds like you're doing some wonderful things over there. We appreciate you having on this show. But reach out to him at Local SEO Search, and he will definitely help you guys out. So, John, thanks again for being on the show. Hopefully we can have you on the show later on too.
Thank you so much, Spencer. I had a lot of fun today.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. And guys, until next time, enjoy your day and keep listening to the Pocatello Business Podcast.
Congratulations on spending a couple minutes getting just a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Pocatello business community. If you are feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.